What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be looking at 3 exercises for improving your overhead shoulder mobility. So if you notice you have a limitation here or maybe some pain when reaching overhead, then you'll want to stay tuned for today's exercises. When we're thinking about reaching overhead, one of the muscles that can restrict our range of motion is the latissimus dorsi, or your lat muscle. So when we reach overhead, if that's tight, it can limit our ability to go through full shoulder flexion range of motion. So one of the ways to stretch this muscle is to use a weight bench like this. If getting down this position is uncomfortable for you or you don't have a weight bench, you could also sit on a chair and do this on, say, like a kitchen table, something like that. But what you're gonna do is put your elbows onto the surface you're using and then sit back and bring your arms basically up overhead as far as you can. You're looking to maybe feel a stretch in your shoulder joint and again here in your lat muscle. So for most stretches, we'll look at holding, somewhere between around 30 seconds and maybe doing 2 to 4 reps of it. You can hold longer too. Some people do better with longer holds. It's really just about finding what works best for you. For when we're looking to improve joint mobility, oftentimes holding for longer periods of time can be beneficial. So this might be something you do 3 to 5 times throughout the day. And you just sit here and hold maybe for 1 to 3 minutes, something like that, to really work on improving your latissimus muscle flexibility, but also your shoulder joint mobility and range of motion. So give that one a try. That's our first exercise, a lat stretch. All right, for the next exercise, we are going to perform something called a wall slide. This is, again, going to work on shoulder flexion and is going to allow us to get really far up into the range of motion and to use an external surface like a wall to help stretch our joint. So when we reach overhead, not only does our shoulder go through flexion, but it actually has to go through a little bit of external rotation. Our humerus bones rotates into external rotation as we reach overhead. So for this one, what I'm going to do is, say my right arm is the restricted arm. I'm going to put kind of the pinky side of my hand on the wall. That will help to encourage external rotation as I go up. I'm going to walk forward, trying to get my elbow straight and just going to the point where my stiffness begins. If you hit a point of pain, then just hang out there and let it stretch. Again, with joints, we're thinking about longer hold times. We call these low load, long duration stretches. So in the research, we see stretches that are held for anywhere from 1 to 10 minutes. So just don't be afraid to sit there and kind of hang out and just stretch for longer periods of time. As you get more flexible with this, you'll keep moving in closer and closer, and eventually you'll rotate your head away, looking to get that full shoulder flexion range of motion, which is right around 180 degrees. That's the textbook normal, is 180 degrees. Most people have more like 165 to 175 degrees of shoulder flexion, but basically you want to get to the point where you can reach all the way up and you have to turn your head away to get that full movement. Okay, so that's our second exercise, a wall slide. All right, here's our last exercise for improving shoulder flexion. For this one, you're gonna use a light dumbbell somewhere. It could just be 2 to 3, maybe 5 pounds. This is going to be used as an extra weight to help stretch the joint. So what you're going to do is you can lie on the ground, you could lie on a weight bench, or maybe on your bed or something like that if you're doing this at home. So go ahead and lie back. And for this one, we're going to do what's called an eccentric shoulder flexion. So I'm going to take the weight, start with it up here. So make sure you've got good shoulder stability here. This one's definitely the most risky in terms of the shoulder joint. So if you've dislocated your shoulder before or have trouble controlling it, just make sure you pick a really light weight or skip this one. So what you're going to do is lower that weight slowly. My muscles here are working eccentrically to control this. So they're getting longer and contracting. And we have research showing that eccentric contractions can help to improve flexibility and mobility. So you're going to go all the way back as far as you can. When you hit a point where that's kind of, maybe it hurts or it's tight, just hang out there for a few seconds and then bring it back down and reset. So you're going to just do reps like that where you're working on, again, that eccentric contraction where the muscle is getting longer but contracting. And we have research showing that when we do this to our muscles, they actually change from a structural standpoint and the muscle fibers themselves will get longer. So if you are comfortable as you go back with this, you can hold it for longer periods. This is where you don't need a lot of weight because we've got this really long lever arm. I've got 5 pounds here and this might even be a little too much. So I can feel my muscles are really having to work, and you don't want to feel like you're working a ton. So it might be better to have, 1, 2, 3 pounds, something like that, so you can really let it stretch and you don't feel like you're having to fight it too much. Okay, so for this one, I usually will go through, maybe 3 to 5 reps going back and letting it hold back there. You can go up to 10 reps if you want to. And all of these exercises, if you're looking at gaining mobility, are good to do every day. Working on it every day will definitely speed up the process of regaining mobility. Thanks for checking out today's video. I hope you find the exercises to be helpful. Just want to mention my book is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It has rehab programs for the 50 most common pain issues and injuries. Each body region has its own chapter. If you're struggling with shoulder mobility, one of the programs that could really help you is the frozen shoulder program. Obviously, you'd mainly use this if you're struggling with frozen shoulder, but one of the issues with frozen shoulder, the primary issue is a loss of mobility. So this program shows a bunch of exercises that will help you with mobility. We see a table slide, which is very similar to our wall slide today, a bunch of ones with a dowel where you're working on shoulder mobility. We have a wall stretch, just like we did today, the shoulder flexion eccentric in today's video, and a bunch of other ones. So all the programs in my book take you through 3 phases and basically allow you to do your own rehab at home. So if you'd like to check the book out, I'll put an Amazon link down in the description. Thanks again for checking out today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.